Melrina Maggiora, real estate broker.
My name's Melrina Maggiora, and I am currently a broker associate with Remax Gold, so I operate under another broker's license.
What was your pathway to becoming a real estate broker?
I first came to Davis with the idea that I would become a veterinarian, and I attended UC Davis. However, towards the end of my high school, I started to be more interested in business than veterinarian. And I started thinking more and more about not doing something in the medical field. It was only by fluke circumstances that I met some people who were at that time brokers and real estate agents. And I thought it would be interesting to go into the real estate field just for something to do for a year after I graduated. So while I was in my last quarter at Davis, I went to real estate school. That was before online classes, and you had to physically go to a class to get your education for licensing. So I was going to the university for one class. Actually, I had accelerated my education to 2.5 years and we had just one class left I decided to do for fun. And then at night, I was going to real estate school. And then I started in real estate not knowing anything about it. And at that point, I didn't like it. It really wasn't the profession that it is today. I'm happy to say that the profession has evolved to being just that, a profession. Whereas before, it tended to be a second career that people did later in life. They either had retired from the military or being teachers, or maybe they were housewives and wanted to go into some sort of a business. And so, for that and for a variety of reasons, I wasn't overly fond of it at first, but I wasn't someone who would quit doing something quite so quickly. And so I continued with it and decided that I would just carve out my own little way of doing the business in the way that I thought it should be done in a more professional manner. And after the first few years, I started enjoying it and decided when my license came up for renewal to become a broker. And then I started thinking about going to law school to become a real estate attorney. But I decided I was enjoying the real estate part so much at that point that I stayed with it. I also completed an MBA in finance at that point and thought about going on to a corporate position, maybe climbing the corporate ladder. But again, I had grown up in a self-employed family. I was enjoying real estate. I was enjoying being self-employed and setting my own hours. And so I decided to stay with it. And it's been more than 40 years now that I've been in real estate, the only job I've ever had, and thoroughly enjoy it.
What skills serve you well in your business?
Being detailed oriented and having a broad base of understanding of all aspects of the business has been very beneficial. I pride myself on knowing not just real estate and how to list and sell property or manage property, but knowing all the little nuances. And when you've had a lot of experiences and you pay attention, you start to learn what to do to prevent problems down the road. I'm able to tell clients what they should know and not wait for them to ask the question. So I can give them information to help them make better decisions and then invariably have much smoother transactions because of it. And knowing all parts of the business, meaning a little bit of the legal side, a little bit of the accounting side, I branched out into management. And so I can help investors by understanding the management side. All these different angles have helped me provide a higher level of service to my clients. But mostly because I do pay attention to details and pride myself on being very knowledgeable about the industry as a whole.
What are the challenges to being self employed?
There's a great advantage as well as some hardships to being self-employed. I've greatly enjoyed being able to set my own schedule. It helps to be a very disciplined individual. And mostly, you always have to be open to possibilities, because possibilities will bring you opportunities. So keep an open mind, be looking for something that others don't do. It gives you an opportunity to be different and to stand out. And if you look around and see new businesses that then become very successful, invariably it's because they are doing something different. I like being able to set my own schedule. I can choose to go into the office or not. Even before COVID, I wasn't in the office 8 to 5 every day. I personally chose not to work on weekends and to not do some of the things that other real estate agents do. And I've made that work for me. Some of my colleagues think it's humorous the way I've conducted my business. And I often tell people, don't do as I've done, because that's not the best way, but it's been the best way for me, because it enabled me to do some of the things in my life that I wanted to do on my personal time. And I think that's one of the most enjoyable things about being self-employed. But the other side of the coin is you do tend to work a lot harder when you are the boss and the employee. I jokingly say I fire myself at least once a day, and then I have to hire myself back due to a labor shortage. I've actually never had employees. I've always worked alone, and I've enjoyed that because I can control all aspects, and I know the quality that I'm delivering without worrying about what other people might be doing. But in a lot of the self-employed type businesses that one might start, you would end up with employees, which opens up a whole nother category of responsibilities. But I wouldn't change it for anything. It's all I've ever known, and it allowed me to spend time with my husband. It was through going into real estate that I met him, and for that I'll be eternally grateful. There's a lot of different aspects to the real estate business. You can work for an agent. Most of the time, people out under another broker or agent, they eventually want to branch out on their own and be self-employed, because quite frankly, that's how you make more money and have more control over what you're doing and when you're doing it. A lot of agents have chosen to create what's called a team, where they bring in other agents underneath of them. So while these other agents work independently, they also work under the umbrella of the agent who's in charge of them, and perhaps that agent has some specific requirements, takes a fee from them, and so forth. There's also new home subdivisions, there's commercial real estate, of course there's management. You can be licensed and choose to work for a property manager who may be the broker, but you may choose to be an employee of that broker. So there's many different angles that can bring you into the business. The most difficult thing when you're self-employed and you start a new business is you're not making any money. And so you have to work very, very hard in the very beginning. That might mean working 7 days a week, 16, 18-hour days. But eventually, when you're diligent, you reap the rewards from that, as you would with any profession. Mostly, I would say, don't be afraid to work. Always be open to possibilities that bring opportunities. And I find that when you are working hard and people see you working hard, only good things come from that. If I had given up early on because I didn't like the business, I would have missed out on so much that I've enjoyed since then. And I truly wouldn't change anything. I've been extremely fortunate to have done what I did. I've been extremely successful doing it, and it's opened up lots of other avenues for me on a personal business level. And I'll be forever grateful to that as well. And my husband was in a related business, and the two of us created a pretty dynamic team. So in that regard, I wouldn't regret it. But self-employment is not for everyone. As I say, you have to start out with nothing and be prepared to get by on very little, make sacrifices. But there's many jobs out there that are similar. the farming business, for example. There's no guarantees. You're self-employed, but it can too be a very enjoyable profession. So don't be afraid to work hard. Don't be afraid to take chances. Believe in yourself. Take a chance. Gamble on yourself, because you can do more than what you may think you can do, especially if you're willing to make some sacrifices, exercise some frugality, and work hard.
Melrina Maggiora, real estate broker.